Hello everyone, welcome. This is Brad Cooper with ClientWhys. We're going to go ahead and get started. This is the webinar answers to your top 10 marketing questions. And I'm going to go just real quick. Lee Reams is on the phone with me, our CEO of ClientWhys. You want to just say hello real quickly?
Yeah, hi Brad. I'm excited for this one.
All right, short and sweet. Okay, we're going to cover a lot of ground today. We have a good number of questions that we've compiled, and we're going to go through those and answers to those. I am going to start off real quick with just some housekeeping items. Hopefully you're all connected, can hear everything okay, can see the slides okay. If you can't, you can contact us at the email address that you got the email from, and we could see if we can help you. But this is scheduled to be 50 minutes. We're going to have 10 minutes for Q&A at the end. And if you can, please also do stay to the end because that's required for CPE, but we also have some special offers. So please do stay through the whole 50 minutes. We are going to be recording this. It's being recorded, so it will be available for playback if you want to share it with colleagues, and we do encourage that. If you can share the presentation later with others, we really appreciate it. If you have questions, you are in listen-only mode, but we do have a questions box on the right-hand side, so you can ask questions there in the little questions box on your GoToMeeting. There is also a PDF handout there too that has all of the slides from the presentation, so you can go ahead and download the handout. You can follow along or print it out later and come back to it later. There's also a chat. There should be a chat feature there on your GoToMeeting as well. So there's the link for Citrix, which is the company that has webinar GoToMeeting if you do have any technical issues. This webinar is designed primarily for US-based small tax and accounting practices. However, this can really benefit any practice or business from the content we're going to share and present today. And it's also pretty focused on marketing and digital marketing, although we are going to get into practice management, process type things as well. This is predominantly designed for folks to help grow your firm and communicate with the clients that you have through various marketing techniques. And then just our disclaimer here, we're not attorneys, so if there are legal issues or questions that you have or key ethics things, please consult your attorney for those. Okay, about our presenters. Lee, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself real quick, a little bit about yourself.
Sure, Brad. My name is Lee Reams. I'm the founder and CEO of ClientWhys. My experience in the tax accounting vertical has been long and vast. I used to run a company called Image One, and we grew that company to a little over 40,000 customers across the country. Primarily, we have always been about content and marketing. We transitioned about 8 years ago from the print-related product to the digital arena, and that obviously is through our ClientWhys and our taxbuzz.com marketplace. So a lot of experience. I write about marketing on Forbes, on our TaxBuzz site, on our ClientWhys site. So excited to kind of talk about a topic that I think is really beneficial to our audience. So go ahead, Brad.
Okay, great. And like I said, my name is Brad Cooper. We're really excited to be here. Love talking about this kind of stuff. We talk about it with our clients every day. I've got over 20 years of experience in digital marketing, working with thousands of professional services practices, including, in addition to accountants and tax professionals, I've worked with attorneys and doctors and dentists and small businesses of all kinds. And again, we just love talking about this stuff. Our contact information is there. If you do have additional questions for us, you can always reach out to us directly, connect with us on LinkedIn. We're happy to connect with you there as well. So real quick on the CPE credit, the credit is for CPAs. You can get information on the handout. You should have also gotten information if you came from CPA Academy. And by the way, I should welcome CPA Academy. I know they're listening in on the call today, but great to partner with them. We love doing these kind of classes with them. And so if you want information on how to get the CPE credit, you do have it there in the handout. And if you came aboard this webinar through us, through ClientWhys, here's the instructions on doing that to get the credit there. There's a link. There's a CPE code there that you'll need to use. And again, if you ever have any issues, please feel free to reach out to us on the CPE credit portion of this webinar. Okay, so what are we going to be talking about today? So today, this is all about the digital marketing questions that we've heard throughout the years and answers to those. So through the answers, you're going to learn easy ways, based on the answers to those questions, you can improve your firm's online marketing strategies and specific tactics that you can use. Very detailed answers to the most pressing questions that we get over and over again. So hopefully you'll get answers to those. And if you have more, please, again, we do like to hear from everyone. So, send us your questions throughout the presentation as well. And then, ways you can apply. And hopefully right after this webinar, you're going to be able to do some things with your firm. We can also help as well if you have questions after, there's some things that we can apply to you and your firm right away. Hopefully you can as well. So that's what we're going to be covering today. Real quick, Lee mentioned it as well, but just a little bit of background of ClientWhys. We've been on around 10 years or so. We have thousands of accounting and tax professional clients around the country. We work with them on all of the things you see on your screen here. So whether it's websites, content marketing, social media, email, we're focused on helping small independent tax and accounting firms to build and grow their practices and to build and protect their online reputation. And we really do have a lot of experience there, but that's what we love doing every day. And then the other thing we love doing every day is things like this webinar that you're on today. We also have additional tax and other specific technical CPE. We do seminars, we do blogs. Our blog there is on the top, ClientWhys.com blog. We have a video channel that has a lot of these webinars, and we do things like email and our site blog. And as Lee said, blogging and guest posting and guest speaking at lots of other places as well. So today, on the road to success, this is what we're going to be covering, and it's a pretty interesting and brief agenda, because normally what we do is, you start with the content and then, leave the 10 minutes at the end for the questions. We're sort of reversing it today. So today, we're starting with your questions, the questions that we've had, again, throughout the years, and we're going to be then answering them. We're also going to leave some time at the end for questions, but really starting with the questions and then going from there. And then you'll have some summary of the next steps, and then some special offers, like I said, at the end. So real simple agenda. We're going to go into it in a second here. So how did we come up with these 10? There's actually a lot more than 10. There's 10 main question areas. But really, we looked across, Lee and I, in our decades of experience in working with thousands of clients, what are the top questions that we consistently get over and over again from our clients. And they're all legitimate questions, nothing to say that there's anything wrong with them. In fact, they're very good questions. But we looked across that. We looked at the most commonly asked ones, the webinars we've done over the past years and specifically the past few months, compiling some of those, calls we get in to our client success team, support calls, chats, emails, and then, these are also, just to point out, these are more of an online marketing type of a focus, but we also get offline, print, should I be doing direct mail, those kinds of things. We get lots of questions there as well, but our company predominantly is focused on the digital side, and so most of this and most of these questions are really going to be more focused towards the online marketing side of things. So we're looking forward to it. We're going to dive into it here. We're going to get to these questions, and hopefully we have lots of them to go through, and lots of great content and lots of great answers for these questions. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Lee, who's going to kick it off with our top question number 1.
All right, thanks, Brad. So question number 1 that we hear daily almost is, do I need to be online? And I'll give some kind of related questions. What if my clients and prospects do not use the internet? What if I get all of my clients via word of mouth? What if I'm not trying to grow my practice right now? And then, do I need to be online? Do I need a website, right? So this is kind of I'm going to go a little off script here on the slides, but at the same time kind of go over the main point. So first of all, obviously in our world, we know that 90% of the U.S. uses the internet. It's pretty obvious to you that, with the growth of mobile devices, with the growth of Wi-Fi and internet across the country, most people are familiar with the internet, knowing how to use it and use it as a tool on a daily basis. Another statistic is 75% of business owners believe that online marketing is effective at attracting new customers. That was from a 2015 Client Local survey, and my guess is that is much higher now. So I'm going to go a little off the slide, but some things that people don't think about is, one reason to be online is to control the narrative about your brand. And what I mean by that is, if you do not have a web presence that you control, meaning managing your social media sites, managing your directory listings, if you're not actively controlling it, guess what? The internet kind of controls it for you. So whether or not you want to have things out there, you could have bad data, you could have bad addresses, you could have one-star reviews. People could speak poorly about you on social media. Those are things that if you do not have a plan on managing your online presence, you're no longer able to control the narrative about your brand. And if you're actively building a website and building your social media profiles, most likely when people Google your name, what you want to show is what they're going to see. And that's what I mean by controlling the narrative. Number two is you got to think about your website or online social media sites as really communication tools. So forget about just finding new clients, but the typical ones. A client needs directions. They want a map to your location. What is your phone number? Communication tool can be, you can share breaking news, tax tips, accounting, startup tips, things like that. So what the online presence allows you to do is to really become a communicator. And what this does is drives more influence. You are able to influence people's decisions and educate them. If you're not online, your voice is not heard, right? And what this does is gives you a much bigger audience. It allows you to connect with people that would never know about you in a very kind of economical way. So what do? You can reach prospects and clients. You can set up relationships with other referral sources. That could be other professionals, realtors, insurance, attorneys, estate planners. And it also helps you find influencers. So most of the influencers now are heavy, bloggers or on social media. They're going to go to those mediums first. So if you don't have an online presence, it's going to be harder to find you. What's nice about being online or having a website is it runs 24 hours a day. So not everybody is 8 to 5 going on and checking your site. So if they call during business hours or off business hours or want to inquire about your firm, you're no longer just getting voicemail and perhaps emails, but you're actually have the ability now to tell your story during the other set of the hours. So I think that kind of brings into the highest ROI. What other mediums can you have that you can communicate with your audience 24 hours, 365? It becomes a very low-cost, high-return medium. One of the things, too, is it gives you a voice. It allows you to showcase your expertise. So through blogs, social media, video, email, it really starts allowing you to say who you are. So your business is built on your reputation and kind of, your expertise, and being online allows you to communicate that. And what this does, in fact, is increase word of mouth and referrals. So the modern day referral is no longer behind closed doors, over phone. It's through sites like Nextdoor. It's through Facebook. It's through LinkedIn. Those are the places that people will talk about you. They'll ask their friends and colleagues, who do you work with? And I think that's a very big deal. So kind of to summarize this part of it is it really allows you to build and safeguard your reputation. And, as we all know, your reputation is kind of what drives what you're allowed to bill, how many referrals you get, and how strong your practice is. So what drives new business? Referrals from other customers is 65%. This is based on a survey that was done in 2015. But look at the top 4. So referrals from customers, your company website, referrals from friends and family, social media. So none of the digital online ads is down at 17%, direct mail at 21%. Some of the old school yellow pages and things like that are even lower. So the reality here is, it's having a presence makes the top 4 items more likely to happen. And it's kind of the biggest no-brainer, but it does kind of follow, hey, this is where it's all coming from. And, having paid and display ads and other things, can it help boost things? But the reality here is just by having a presence, the top 4 items you're going to be able to kind of focus on as you go. So, Brad, I'm going to kind of roll it over to you on the first poll question.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Lee. And that's a great point there at the end too, or earlier on about you're going to be online sometimes whether you want to be or not, especially with CPAs and accountants, tax professionals. If you register with government bodies, things like that, typically your information is public, and so you're actually on a lot of sites out there. Lots of times you're online whether you even know, or so good to get ahead of it and control it and manage it. So okay, I'm going to launch the first poll question here. And so this is related to the topic that Lee was just going through here. So why should your practice specifically invest in online marketing? So I'm going to go ahead and launch that. And so, is it A, to reach more prospects and clients, get a higher return, increase your word of mouth, or all of the above? there. So what's the primary reason, or what's the best chance, or best answer out of all of those to be online, to get your practice online? And I think Lee went through all of these items that are there. So I'll leave it open for just a few more minutes. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and close the poll questions in 3, 2, 1. Okay, perfect, awesome, great. You all, I'll share it with you, did very good. So most of you got that it really is all of those things: reaching more people, getting a higher return, increasing your word of mouth, and that's a good big part of what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so I'll go ahead and hide that, and we'll go ahead and move on. So,
right, thanks, Brad.
So you're on this one. Go ahead, Lee.
Yep. Yeah, so the next one, let's just go straight into the website. So, people ask us all the time, what matters most with my website? And a lot of times I think accountants kind of get caught up on, some things that don't really matter. And we're going to kind of go over some of those things here. But, they heard from a friend, can I get a website that has certain animation or certain features? Should I get a custom website? That's a common question. I've heard I need to focus on, these type of things on my website. Do I, what's wrong with the site I have today? And what features matter most? Does the design matter? What about mobile friendly? And the answer to these questions is all of this does matter, and I'll kind of go into some of that in a second. And then something that's happening lately is, do I need an app? Do I need an app that people can download from my site? And I'm going to address that before I get into the other part. We monitor this and kind of usage on people that are putting the expense of putting apps together. Most of the sites we've seen that have apps, and meaning an app is something that someone can download on their Droid or their Apple device, a mobile device, and they have some way to dialogue with you. What we've seen is, with the responsiveness of websites, with the ease of document sharing and other things, is that the usage so far is very low. So meaning it's a high expense putting together an app and then only having 5 or 10 clients download it. Sometimes the question is it worth it? Is it ahead of its time? And as things go, that's definitely an area that we're looking at, as well as other ways to engage our clients. But I'm going to kind of move on to what I would consider the answers here. So what makes a good website? The first thing is, I think it needs to be professional. It needs to be modern. People expect, nice, clean websites. They expect websites that are easy for them to navigate. So it's part of the user experience. So what impression do you want when people first load your website? You want them to feel that you're trustworthy. You want to be able to connect with them on an emotional level. You want to have pictures of your staff. You want to have local scenery, or if you're in a specific vertical, meaning you work with McDonald's franchises, you want to have imagery that speaks directly to the target audience that you're working with. So, when it comes down to what are the answers to the key questions is, okay, when someone arrives to your site, these are kind of not in this particular order, but what services do you offer? So, what is your area of expertise? If you're an expat tax professional, for example, you want to speak purely to expats, right? If you are working on QuickBooks accounting, or if you're doing virtual CFO services, you really want to kind of target your website and their experience around that. What information and tools do you provide? So are you an active blogger? Do you have content? Do you have secure file sharing? Do you have online appointment setting? Things like that. So those are tools that make the user experience kind of a more pleasing, overall. It makes you more available, if that makes sense. This next one, we're going to go over reviews here in a little bit, but what others are saying about you, and this is really about social proof. And social proof is a big thing that creates higher rates of conversion, and it allows others to tell the story about you without someone having to read kind of the ad copy thing. So I think having social proof, meaning having reviews and testimonials very prominent on your homepage, means you're very transparent, and it gives people a better picture of who you are. And if they were referred to you, it kind of backs up that referral as well. If they're new and found you on the internet, it kind of says, okay, well, this is what other clients' experiences are. I feel better about calling them. So I think it's a huge deal. Show your experience. Tell who you are, where you located. A lot of business is local, so you want to make sure that on every page of your site there's access to your location, a map, or whatever. It allows people to figure out, is this person close enough, et cetera. How may I contact you? Make sure that you have, whether it be email forms, your phone number, make sure it's prominent. You want to be available. You want to be able to then obviously be responsive to that. How do I log into securely exchanged documents? Many clients expect that now. It needs to be a prominent part of your website. The next thing is the site optimized for search engines and SEO? And this is a kind of a webinar in itself, but do you have the right meta titles and descriptions? Do you have the right content on your website? So people that try to game the system no longer are able to really effectively do that anymore. So you need to make sure that your website is built properly so that the search engines can read what that content is about. So if you're talking about tax preparation, for example, you want to make sure the content on that page is all about tax preparation. You want to include different areas that you focus in. If it's a local site, you want the city, state, things like that. So make sure that your site is optimized for SEO. Just having a website that can't be read by the search engines basically kind of hides it from the world. The next one, mobile and device responsive. This is huge, and it's no longer, in the old days we were saying a couple of years ago, yes, responsive sites and mobile-friendly sites are a big deal, but there's a lot of people still hanging on to their old legacy sites, and the reality is your sites are not showing or ranking as high as your competitors if you're still using a site that doesn't show well in mobile devices. And then when it comes to design, what people forget is you have a much smaller area, so your real estate is much smaller to tell your story. So sometimes people get so involved in what a website looks like on the desktop that they forget what the mobile experience is about. We see 30 to 50%, some higher, lower, but traffic now coming from mobile. And as mobile continues to take off, that's going to become a bigger issue. So you got to keep that in mind when you're looking at your website and building your website for the world that we live in now. So Brad, I'm going to turn it over to you now, kind of going to slide 3.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lee. Yeah, so, and then just finishing off on the website, yeah, I think a lot of times what we hear is a couple of different things. One is they have partners if it's a little bit bigger firm, and so there's always, the website is always like the front-facing part of your marketing and your online marketing, so people always seem to gravitate to that as the thing that they're going to focus on, and partners don't always agree about what should be on the website and all that. And then also too, it is a big part of what you do, and you want it to reflect all those things Lee talked about, but it's not everything. There's so much more beyond the website with things like what we're going to talk about next. And then finally, I would say on the website, just if you have a really strong partner like ClientWhys or somebody who's really good at it, does great work, sometimes you have to. It's hard to turn over the reins to somebody and trust them. We do work with our clients on sort of getting that trust. So we've been doing it for many years across many sites. So usually we know the best things to do for the site, but not always. And we always love to get feedback from clients too. So okay. So question number 3. So do I need to be on social media? And again, this is like the first one for many of you on the webinar. I think you've probably already answered this question for yourself, and maybe you're not asking it anymore, but we do get it quite a bit still. Is it a key part of what I need to do? And then related to just this overall category questions, there's other things related to that. And my clients aren't there, or are my clients there? I don't think they are. Which social media network should I use? I'm using Facebook for my personal, but what should I do? And then if I do get on social media, what do I say? That's also a question that we get frequently. You don't necessarily have time, or you don't know what to say. You don't know what's appropriate for a professional presence on social media. What do you say? And so that's a popular one. Do I have to interact with everybody and respond to everything and put myself out there and start tweeting and replying and liking and all that? Do I have to do all that? Can I just do the easy thing, or what I think is the easy thing, and find somebody in my office who's a millennial or is on social media a lot and hire them or have them on our account just responding to things? What if I don't have the time to do it, which is obviously a very popular question, especially during tax time for a lot of our accounting and tax clients. Social media kind of scares me a little bit. What if I really am afraid of it and just don't want to do it? What do I do? So that's a popular one as well. And some people will say it's kind of a waste of time. You're not going to get anything from it. Why do it? And so the answers to those, as you can probably guess, we're going to say yes, you do need to be there, but you also should get help and automate things as much as you can. And that's part of the reason we work with our clients on social media. But it shouldn't be so daunting. There are really good solutions to it. So we'll go through some of those here in a minute. But the reasons are, like just being online, there's all of your clients are there for the most part. 78% of households with 75K income and above, 84% of in that age range, and this is growing every year and all the time. Where the statistics show your clients are there, and more importantly, in some cases, your referral sources are there too. So other attorneys, bankers, people who can introduce you to small business clients, high net worth individuals, things like community influencers, the media, they're all there. It's really low cost. There's nothing, it doesn't cost you anything to create social media accounts. And are you guys hearing me okay? Just want to check in.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'm not sure if some people dropped off or not. I see a couple of comments.
All right. Okay. All right, good. Yeah, I saw a couple comments that the audio cut out here. Somebody says they hear you. Thank you, Martha. Okay, Sarah and Martha will say they can hear us, so we're going to keep going. Anyway, so it is a low-cost, high-return medium for you to be in. It is very important for search engine rankings. A lot of the search engines like Google are looking towards social media sites and your activity and content there. And it also allows you, it gives you a channel, to build your expertise and show your expertise and also learn from others. There's actually things you can learn. I see it every day on LinkedIn, tax and accounting groups where people are exchanging, ideas and client situations that they're in. And can you help me out with this, client that I have? I see that all the time on social media. So, and then it's easy to get help from folks like ClientWhys. So here's a little more information on it. So we did a nice webinar in July that went through an entire webinar on social media. So I'm not going to repeat all of that here, but just to answer this question a little more fully, yes, you need to be there, and you need to focus on these 4 networks. These are the 4 that we recommend starting with. LinkedIn in sort of priority order, LinkedIn, Facebook, and then Twitter and Google for a lot of different reasons. Building out your profiles, a headshot photo for yourself if you're an individual practitioner. But even if you're in a bigger firm, for your own personal or professional profiles, you still really need a nice photo. And there's things that there's some tips that we had on the photos on the last webinar that we did, but that's actually pretty important. And then once you get on those networks, growing your network. So there's lots of strategies we talked about in that that webinar. So not just being there, but how do you get more followers? How do you get in front of more people, both prospective clients, referral sources, and all of that? So searching out, connecting with folks through a lot of different strategies, and then sharing content, showing your expertise, posting articles, sharing interesting articles that you come across. And again, we actually have automation where we do that for you, and we can do it for you 2 to 3 times a week with tax and accounting content. So there are ways to automate it. It is simple for our clients. We actually create these social media networks for you and for your firm. It's usually no extra cost. It's actually something we do as part of our packages. So it is easy to get your firm established on social media, to put out some very good content and have a great presence and get all these benefits from social media that you can get for getting new clients from either referral sources or directly from social media, getting in contact with media, helping with your search engine optimization. So shouldn't be daunting. It shouldn't be thought of as something that won't help you and your firm. It absolutely will help in all of these things. And so we definitely encourage it. And if you have more specific questions about social media, we can address those afterwards. And then also just to share, we have these lobby cards for some of our clients on our social media packages that we have, where photos are very important. So as part of sharing on social media, one of the things that we offer to our clients is a way to have, you see the girl there with the cutest tax deduction ever sign that she's holding up. Those are things that personalize your social media for your firm without having to get silly. We have clients who post, recipes to their social media. I wouldn't recommend that. But as far as getting personal and making things interesting, exciting, photos are an easy way for you and your firm to personalize your social media. And so that's something we encourage, and we actually can help facilitate that with these lobby cards that we have through what we call the social accountant. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Lee with question number 4.
All right, thanks, Brad. So this next one is, how should I use email marketing? one of the commentaries about it is one of the things I find accountants sometimes forget is the power of their database, and keeping that as a primary focus of utilizing it to help you grow your practice. Sometimes they do not put the proper time into it. So here are some of the questions I hear all the time. What do I say in the emails? Where do I get my content from? Should I be sending, or can I send recipes, celebrity news, fluffy articles? Should I use MailChimp, Constant Contact, Outlook to send my emails? How often should I email? Do I need to segment my email list? Should I buy or rent email lists? So these are some of the common questions, and then getting into the answers is the first thing I would say is grow your email database. So every point of contact you have with a client, just verify that the information is correct. Collect on your website in all touch points. So we have some on-exit modal boxes that we have here to the right. Everyone wants to pay less in taxes. This is just an easy way for visitors to your site to add their information and join your newsletter. So you want to include it on your email newsletter, your social media sites, everywhere. Really make it prominent. So the question above was, should I be doing rented lists? And cold email is a way to grow your business. As professional service firms, I have found that it not be effective. First of all, you have to find a vendor who will allow you to spam, and most will not. So most services are opt-in providers, and if you start spamming, they'll suspend your account. But there are a few ways and tricks that people have had effective cold email. I'd say on the large part here, I would absolutely say do not do it. You don't want to put a blemish on your domain name, so if you start becoming a spammer, you might not be delivered anymore, and it's not really highly effective. The return rates are very, very low. What we do recommend is setting up automated emails. So if you receive a lead, have a campaign that kind of focuses on whatever that lead type was. So if it's small business, you want to send some small business articles, and it's basically content, not selling. You want to educate. You want to kind of give them validation that you know what you're doing. You want to showcase your expertise. You want to do at least a monthly client email newsletter. We have some clients that send out information a little more often, but a monthly seems to be kind of the highest response rates and unsubscriber rates. So I think that's a very solid strategy. And then in addition, keep that point of contact going. So is it their birthday? Holiday greetings. Send out requests for testimonials, reviews, social media followers. We've used a review email that we have kind of formulated and fine-tuned over the years. Is we have some clients with 80, 100 reviews on their profiles, and then that's huge for your brand as you try to grow. Follow on social media. It's the fastest way to send an email to say, hey, here's my Facebook account. Please follow me. It's one of the easiest ways to really get a lot more users. Thank you email. So if someone sent you a referral, thank you for working with me. These are just common sense things, but you need to have them all set up in templates or systems that the more you can automate and make it part of your business, obviously the more effective it's going to be. We always say regular database cleanup. So in our system, we show bounced emails. That's a way for your staff to follow up, and really your email hygiene is just as important as a physical mailing address nowadays. So keeping that database up to date is a big thing. So when it comes to frequency, we say 1 to 3 emails a month seems to be kind of the perfect area. We have some clients sending 2 a week and up, and they're doing very well. So it's kind of up in the air, but don't spam your clients. Don't overly hit them on a basis. We've seen some people that just hit you day after day after day, and that's not going to be effective for long-term use. Brad, I'm done with that one. I guess go to poll question number 2.
Yep. Okay. Great. Yep. So I'm going to go ahead and launch the next poll here, the second poll. And let's see here. Oh, yeah. I'm getting it. It's almost there. Okay. Let's see. Did I just drop? Am I here? Okay, I'm here. Good. I was worried I dropped for a second. All right. So the poll should be up. Go ahead and take a look at it, and I'll go ahead and get it on my screen here so I can see it too. So which out of these things not to do? What is not a recommended email strategy based on what Lee just went through? So growing your email database, B, sending informative email newsletters to prospects, regularly sending email greeting cards to clients, or the last one there in all caps, sending spam email to rented lists or purchased email list. Which of these options is something we're recommending that you do not do with your email marketing? Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and give you all just a few more seconds here. Looks like we have like 15% or so that are still out there, hanging out there. Hopefully they're paying attention. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close it in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we'll go ahead and share it, and it looks like great. Looks like everybody got the correct answer for the most part there. Let's see, there it is. Okay, so looks like most people, yes, do not send spam email to your rented list or purchase list or anything like that. It's not a good idea for a lot of different reasons, but definitely do the things that Lee talked about there in his part of the presentation. Okay, Lee, back over to you.
Yeah, go ahead. You need to share the screen again. Pop it up if you could for me.
Oh, okay. Yep. Thanks. Didn't close. Okay. Well, see if this works.
There we go.
Coming. Yeah, got it. Okay. Thanks.
All right. So the next one, and I know it's probably me I'm talking too much at each point, but slide number 5 is how do I show up in Google searches? This is something that we could talk about for another hour type of thing, but the basic questions are you need to have a general understanding of how the Google algorithm works, what is important as far as your brand, and I think the biggest takeaway here is that it takes more than a website to be found online. So these are some of the normal questions. What does Google care about? Don't I just need a website? And the answer from our side is no. What keywords should I target? Why does this company show higher than me and I'm not on page 1? That's a very common question. Does it help if I pay for Google Ads? The answer to that one is no. Do I really need to care about mobile search? The answer is yes, and we'll kind of go into this in a little more detail here. So here's some of the answers. The first thing is the Google algorithm takes hundreds and hundreds of signals and ranking factors. So a website is just part of it. So what we call on-page SEO is, okay, I have a website. Is it set up correctly? Meaning, do I have the correct meta titles, descriptions, H1 tags? These are a little technical things, but is my copy and my website designed correctly so that the search engines know when they're looking for information, what is this content about? Oh, yes, this person is a CPA in Miami. I'm going to rank them higher because this content is about that. So it kind of goes into, is your page set up correctly? Do you have your address, your name, your phone number, on the footer of all your pages? Or again, all the meta titles set up correctly. So that's just one part of the ranking factors. So there's a company called Moz that does a survey each year, and we've kind of summarized some of these things here. But basically, there are what we'll call the on-page results. Is your website optimized? And then there's these off-page things. And that, if you add it all up, you'll see that the off-page factors are actually more than what a website by itself would be. So the website is important, but however, off-site factors often matter more. So is your information consistent? And what that means is across the internet, and we have a service, we kind of have like this local search service, and the reason we do this is part of the algorithm when they look at a business. So, and think about it, if a search engine is ranking 2 businesses and they're comparing them, and one business has the same business name, address, phone number across all these different directory sites and social media sites, the confidence level that that brand is still in business, that that information is correct, is higher. And because of that, that is why that is an important thing. So is your name the same across all directory sites? Is your phone number the same? And if it's not, and the other company you're competing with is, that's an area where you'll be moved down in the rankings. Does your business have reviews? And reviews today are one of the most highly used things consumers use to when they pick a business, when they compare businesses, and the search engines look at it as well. Are people talking about them? Do they have recent reviews? So are the reviews 5 years old, or are they getting reviews once a month, twice a month, that kind of stuff? Do they have reviews on multiple sites? So review diversity. Those are the kind of things that are important. Social media. Do they have social sites? So you need to be on the majors at least: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. it at least gives you a presence that the search engines look at it and say, okay, are people talking about them? Are they engaging with them? And it's another signal that Google and the search engines use to rank you. Blogs and rich content. So if you just put up a site and it becomes what I call a dinosaur site where you're not updating your content, your brand, and just from the search engine's point of view, might become kind of a lower ranked signal there. So they're not active. You know, is this brand, is this business really, you know, a legit firm that we should be showing on the search engines? Links into your site. So this means quality links. So are local businesses, even if it's your customers, if it's local newspapers, Forbes.com, big, you know, national trades. If you're getting inbound links from these, that is going to validate to the search engines that, you know, your brand is worthy to show higher in the rankings. And the best example of this is Apple.com doesn't care about anything I'm talking about today because everyone is linking to them. Anytime they do a big event, everyone is talking about them. And all they use really is off-page SEO, if you want to call it that, but off-page signals, which makes the brand ranking so high. We don't have the luxury of that as smaller businesses, so it really matters for us to work on, you know, many of these factors. The map location, where are you geolocation versus a customer? Those are kind of things that the search engines are going to use as they index your site. I'm going to go into content, and content is an area that is, I'm going to call it evergreen, and evergreen means that when you put some content out, it will be indexed and bring visitors to you for a long period of time. So a lot of what we do is long-term focused. We're not into short-term results. It takes months and months and, you know, 6 months, a year to really get a brand indexed well, and then after that you need to be consistent. So you always want to be putting out quality content. So do you have service pages that are individual pages? So meaning don't put all your services onto one page. You want the search engines want to see, okay, if they're talking about tax preparation for expats, I want that content only to be talking about that. You want to make sure your business name, your staff and bios, we see this all the time. People don't want to put their pictures. They don't want to put their staff or even their own information on it. But think about it. Not everyone's Googling your business name. A lot of times they are Googling you, or your staff members, and you want those people to be found in Google. You don't want it to be hard for people to find you. If you're working on niches or specific industry services, you want to develop content around that. And what that does is it creates a lot of long tail terms. So meaning if someone's looking for a CPA in Miami, that is a much more competitive market than looking for a CPA in Miami who works with restaurants or works with veterinarians. So if you're working in niches, if you develop content on your site around those niches, there's going to be less competition, and you're going to get more quality traffic. So meaning the person searching for you, their intent is much higher than someone that might be just looking for a generalist. So it's very important to include that type of content. You need to put out consistently blog articles, tax tips, small business tips, QuickBooks tips. We do this for our clients through our subscription base, and we're figuring it out. It's about $30,000 a year. We have over 120 articles minimum that go out to our clients, and the cost per article is, if you add it all up, it's about $30,000 a year worth of content. And if you're doing this yourself, maybe what you do is you have different team members write the content, but you want to be consistent no matter what you do. You want to make sure that you're putting content out there on an ongoing basis. Video blogging is big. YouTube is the second biggest search engine to Google. We've had success with clients that have done higher quality. It doesn't need to be huge production values, but it does need to be, content that people want to see. Solve a pain point for them, educate them, be something that they're searching on. So I think that's a key item as well. The testimonials and reviews, we're going to go into that in more detail here in a little bit. Social links, you want to make sure that the social links are all there, that Google can follow them and find your social voice. As far as the platform and technology, so is your site mobile friendly? Will it load quickly? Do you have a sitemap that you're submitting to Webmaster Tools, Google Webmaster Tools? And what this does, it enables Google to know, or Bing or whatever, what is on your website, and it helps them find the content, so to speak. So those are important items. The meta tags, I've kind of addressed a little bit. The name, address, phone, that's the NAP listings, and you just want that to, again, be consistent, and you want it on your site, on every page of your site. And that helps the search engines know that, hey, this brand, this is their contact information. These are one of the things that most users are looking for. And I think that's an issue sometimes that people forget as far as that goes. So, where
and Lee, I'm just gonna sorry to interrupt real quick, but we're probably just on time. We have, and I know this is a webinar in itself on the SEO part, and we did cover a lot of this in the last webinar. I wonder if we move quickly through this one, and then we'll get on to the full question.
Sure. So what we were saying, or what I was saying, is it takes hard work, expertise, and time to do this. So you need to work on attracting reviews. Don't be afraid of reaching out and doing that. You want to make sure that you have all of your local directories, that all of your information is correct. We went over kind of these quality inbound links. The citations is all about how many times are people talking about you, and then try to find the ability, or if you can, reach out to other bloggers, offer guest blogs. I do this now. And it really helps getting local inbound links for people. So I think these are all good pointers and good things to think about. But I'll kind of roll through to your poll question then.
Yeah, thank you. And it's all good content. And again, if you have additional questions about SEO, we're always available afterwards, or if you want to pop it into the question box there. I'm going to go ahead and launch the third poll question, and it's a lot about what Lee was just talking about related to search engines. So which strategies will help you to improve your search engine and optimization, showing up better on search engines? Out of the things that he mentioned, choose the best answer here. So getting lots of reviews on sites like TaxBuzz and Google, mobile-friendly website with fresh content, getting other sites to link in to your website, or all of the above. All of the above are good things to do. And if you're paying attention, you'll notice that you probably can recognize most of those things that you're seeing there. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this open for just a few more seconds here. So please go ahead and answer the question. So yeah, as somebody commented, these are pretty difficult questions. So if you weren't paying attention, you might not get them. So okay, I'm going to go ahead and close this poll. Please answer. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that's closed, and thankfully it looks like you all were paying attention. So I'll share the results here, and hopefully there it is. Yeah, so all of the above, all of those things were good things related to your search engine optimization. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to sharing. Hopefully this is going to share my presentation. There it is. Okay, and I just skipped ahead by accident. All right, and some of these are the animations got a little mixed up there, so sorry about that. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just load this next one and the related questions. So question number 6 out of our top questions, it's something we get very frequently, which is, how do I get more of blank types of clients, or blank clients? What if I want to get doctors or dentists or small businesses or startups or truckers? There's all kinds of different types of clients that a lot of our clients ask about in terms of how do I get more of those. And then sometimes the related question to that is, and a lot less of these others. So what if I want small business owners, nonprofits? We have some clients who work with just HOAs, all kinds of different types of niches, whether, should I go broad or niche, go towards a niche? And then how do I get my fees higher is usually also a question that's related to this, or how much should I charge this type of service and this type of client versus other types of service and other types of clients. And so our answer to this is start with the end in mind. So you will eventually get to, through a strategy, you will get to those types of clients. And sometimes it's fast and sometimes it's slow. But build out a strategy for your overall firm in terms of going after those specific types of clients. Now, sometimes it may take years to get there. Sometimes it could be fast. But we encourage you, based on the size of your firm, how long you've been in business, where your expertise is, can you build upon the segment that you're going after now, or if you're starting to scratch? These are questions that you need to ask yourself. What does the ideal client look like? And then from there, you develop your brand, showcase your expertise, and build your reputation. So your website needs to speak all about that particular client, or at least have lots of information. You need to have blog posts and videos and things that are going to speak to those clients. Make sure they know that you provide the type of services that they're looking for, that you have worked with those types of clients in the past, things like reviews, getting specific reviews, and then just putting them all over the place. So if you have truckers and that's what you're going after, you will need to have reviews from truckers all over your website, and you need to have blog posts about specific tax implications for truckers or whatever it may be that you're going to go after. And then in some cases, you'll actually build separate sites, and that's something we do for clients as well, building a niche-focused website. Now, related to SEO, you do have to be careful. There's something called duplicate content. We can go, again, another whole webinar about that. But there are some strategies where you can build separate sites, separate social media, separate things based on that particular target. But I would start with your own website. Don't build a separate one for now. Focus on your site, blog posts. You can do videos. That's a very good way to get on SEO and to talk to those specific targets, social media. Now, with new practices, though, this is where the challenge comes in. So if you're going, you're in a very small rural area and you're going after a niche and that's all you want to go after, it's going to be very difficult for you. So we usually recommend start broader, get more, narrow later on, but to have a broad focus to start and be able to grow your practice so that you can be in practice, a year or two from now, and not worrying about where your next paycheck is going to come for a new practice or business. So okay, so question number 7, and this is actually related to what I was just saying. So if I'm in a small town, or if I work from home, these are very, very common questions for folks who maybe were with big firms and going out for the first time, maybe just, passed the CPA exam or just became an enrolled agent. These are very popular questions, and some related questions to that. Even if I am in a small town or working on my home, at home on my own, how do I get nationwide exposure? How do I get access to other cities? How come I'm not showing up in Google for my city or other cities? Do I have to show my home address online? What if I have another full-time job and I'm just doing this and moonlighting part-time? Do I need to really add my bio and my photo and things like that? Okay, so the answer is there is a solution, which is, and there's a couple of different solutions. So one is a virtual office. So Regis or a UPS Store or DaVinci, where you can have a physical location. And you are going to need that at some point, and we recommend getting a physical location real soon. One of the primary reasons, first bullet point there, is Google considers accountants and tax professionals and those types of services to be local. As much as you want to do a tax return, if you're in California and you want to do a tax return for somebody in Maine, you probably could, maybe not state tax, but maybe federal. At the same time, Google is going to show that person in Maine, accountants and tax professionals, predominantly, is going to show that the tax professionals and accountants that are in Maine. So you do need to have, and if you don't have a physical location, then that's going to be very difficult for you, especially if you're growing as a practice, to try to grow your client base if you don't have an office. So we recommend, one of these other services. The other thing too is if you're not answering your phone all the time, which you really should be, especially during business hours, get a virtual receptionist service, an answering service. Have somebody in your office that's always answering the phone, especially for new clients as you're trying to build. This is an important part of a virtual office, is having somebody who answers the phone would be ideal. At the very minimum, having a very nice voicemail that people can leave messages to. But for new clients, again, if you're growing, it's going to be very difficult for you to grow if your new clients go to voicemail. And the reason for that is, just imagine yourself, if you're searching for something online, you call the first thing on the list on Google, you get a voicemail. The second one you call, somebody answers the phone. Which one are you going to go with? You're going to go probably with the one that answered the phone and answered your question, and you're off and running with that tax professional or accountant. The voicemail is not going to happen. So, so the question about, can I avoid putting myself online? Do I have to have my bio? Do I have to have a photo of myself? You shouldn't hide. People see. If they come to your website, there's no bio, there's no information, and Lee addressed this earlier too, they're going to wonder if it's really a legitimate business. Or if they don't see an address for your business, they're going to wonder if it's a legitimate business. So, we would recommend all these things. Physical office address, make sure you're taking care of and answering your phones and emails, have a good, solid biography, photo about yourself and your team, and if you have a team, and don't hide. Okay, over to Lee for number 8.
All right, you got it. So this one to me is probably the most important item that we're talking about today, and also I think the most effective, cost-effective thing for you to do. Anyone who has a solid client base can ask for reviews. So what is the question? Do I need to ask for reviews? I'm afraid of them. What if I get a bad review? I'm shy. I don't want to brag about myself. These are kind of the common follow-up questions. What if I already have testimonials? We kind of addressed that a little bit ago about the velocity of reviews and how that's worked into the search engines. And then what about Yelp? So I'm going to, again, kind of go through this fairly quickly. But I'll make 2 points. One, we did an entire webinar about this in June, which is recorded. If you go to our YouTube page, you can watch that. But basically, think of it this way. 92% of consumers read online reviews, and the star rating is the #1 factor used to judge a business. So think about this. It's all about social proof. With the power of the internet at their fingertips, your prospects and clients can know an immense amount of information about your practice before ever speaking with you. So if you are not working on reviews and they're doing their due diligence, kind of looking about you, you're going to miss out. It is the review economy. People trust these things. It's transparency. And, I always say that clients tell the story better than you can ever tell it. So when you have real verified reviews, I think it makes a big difference. So what we've seen is it converts more prospects into clients, and the proof is in many of our clients that are very active in getting reviews get huge organic growth rates. So we had a client in the Atlanta area, grew 35% after they actively started getting reviews. We have a client in San Jose who absolutely dominated their market with reviews and was actually shutting down, I think it's the last 2 years, shutting down from taking new business purely because they have such an influx. And most of this is driven by the quality of their reviews and their reputation. So it's really about building your online reputation. You want to create a practice worthy of 5 stars. You want to build strong brand awareness. So are you responsive to clients? Do you think you deserve it? And if you do, you'll be amazed how quickly clients will sing your praises. So you really want to make sure you build out all of your online profiles. TaxBuzz is our marketplace. What's great about TaxBuzz now is it is an easy way for clients to leave reviews. If you're a client of ours, they're already in the database. If they leave a review, we verify the review. That gives more credibility to it, to both Google and to web visitors. And then also TaxBuzz now, the reviews on TaxBuzz are now showing on Google My Business, the knowledge panel. So there's the power of having a TaxBuzz review now is not just on the TaxBuzz site, but also being shown in the Google Maps. Yelp is obviously one of the biggest issue for the accounting industry with Yelp is many of your reviews are suppressed. So since many of your clients are not active Yelpers, and what I consider Yelp almost a social media site in some ways, they may not leave many reviews. So when they do leave a review about you, it can be suppressed, and meaning that someone's saying these glowing things about you and no one can find it. So that's kind of a thing that we don't want to happen. So what do you do to get more reviews? We are in the belief that you're proactive. Yelp, for example, is saying, no, we don't want you proactively going out and doing that. But, let's be real. It's not like a restaurant. It's not like, a vacation spot. You're not going to get as many people actively talking about you unless you ask. So plan for it. Make it a part of your practice. Include it on your website. Prominently display the reviews. Any emails to clients, we have a, please take a moment to rate us email that's been quite effective. And these make huge differences. Respond to reviews, thank them, monitor it so you know what's happening about, what people are talking about you. And we always say get ahead of the curve. So if you ever do get a 1-star review, if someone had a bad, bad experience, it's going to be buried by 10 other 5-star reviews, and people know better. Not everyone is going to sing your praises. So if you're ahead of it, I think it's a big deal. So we're really into tooting your own horn and using reviews to effectively do things to build your practice. But I think it's the most important thing to take away from this presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lee. Yeah, and again, we did an entire webinar. I highly recommend it. We can get links to it on our YouTube channel about reviews. They are, and these aren't necessarily in priority order, by the way, all of these questions, so these 10 question areas. But I would say I agree with Lee. That is, in terms of the priority, the #1 thing that you should pay attention to, focus on, and it's also something we can help you with. And again, the good news is, for the most part, there's really not a lot of cost involved, if any, to get a good online review presence and build your reputation online. So question number 9, and this one again, very common, should I pay for advertising? So most of what we talked about, there are some costs involved with either the technology. If we help you out a little bit, our costs are pretty effective though on all of those things that we actually just went through. And by the way, I just want to let you know we are going a little bit long here. There's a lot of content, so feel free if you do need to leave. This will be recorded. You can watch it. That's fine. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Sorry we went over time-wise. You can email us your questions, and I'm going to go through these next 2 really quickly. Okay, so pay for advertising, and related questions are, should I do offline? Should I do AdWords? Should I do social media? Should I buy rented lists? And then, how much should I spend? Our answer to this question very quickly is not until you've done all the things we've talked about in 1 through 9 and other things too. And that's, for the most part, for most firms, that's true. And the reason we say that is because there's lots of things you can do and you should do to build up your firm, your presence online, your website, your social media, your reviews. Because here's the thing, if you pay for advertising, you drive people to a website that's not good, it's not mobile friendly, it doesn't have the testimonials and reviews on it doesn't have good content on it, all the different things that we talked about with your website. If someone finds you online and there's bad reviews there, if they find you through your ads and they're not having a good experience, you're going to be wasting your money, driving people to the internet, driving them to your site, and now you've just wasted money. That's one of the reasons. But then the other reason too is these are things long term. All of these things there on the slide in front of you, 1 through 7, are things that are going to build your practice, your firm up for the long term. Advertising usually is fleeting. So you can pay for Google ads and maybe get some traffic, or pay some other type of advertising, maybe get a little bit of a bump, or maybe get a little, a few clients in. That's fine, but then if you turn it off, it's gone, right? So these are things that you're going to stay with you, are lasting, and for the most part don't have a lot of costs and have pretty high returns. So if you have done all of those things, then yes, there are certain things we might recommend. Obviously, TaxBuzz is our site. We do have a $100 off on getting the TaxBuzz Pro plan. LinkedIn ads and Facebook ads and Google AdWords, those are things we can do for our clients. There's something called retargeting. I would avoid these things, though. I would avoid offline unless you've got a great direct mail campaign that's been working for years and it's fine and it is great ROI for you, or you have big marketing budgets. I'd also avoid long-term expensive contracts, 6 to 12-month contracts, companies you don't know, and companies who don't know a good deal about account and marketing. Unfortunately, one of the most important things I will say out of this whole webinar to avoid is exactly that. You get phone calls every day, I realize, from salespeople trying to sell you into X, Y, and Z. Talk to me, talk to Lee, talk to us if you have questions. We'll give you our honest opinion about any particular type of advertising or marketing that's out there, and there are some effective. We actually have, clients who do AdWords and things like that after they've done all of these things. But in fact, just this very morning, I had a client tell you, what, we're actually getting too much business from you guys from all the stuff you're doing. We actually need to dial the advertising part down. Now they're spending, a couple $1,000s a month on their advertising with us and with other things we're doing, but they actually got so much business they had to dial it down. So a good problem to have. But these are all things to do after you've built a solid foundation. It can work, but for the most part out there, it's going to be expensive things that are not going to help you. All right, the last question, and then we'll dive into some of your questions, is should I get help? And obviously that's what we do, so we're going to say yes. But related to this is specifics on that. Should I hire my own person? Should I hire? And this is on the website. We hear this a lot. I've got a nephew who can build my website. I've got my client who can build my website. The answer to those is no, no, and lots of reasons for that. People will say, I burned before, I don't believe it, does it work? What if I don't have the time? What if I'm not tax savvy? I don't like doing sales and marketing. I don't like this part of it. Can somebody help me do that? And then, as I mentioned, I'm getting lots of sales calls from all these companies that say they can help me. Should I hire them? Do I need them? And then should I build my own website? So I'm going to, again, load this up here. But the answer is yes, for the most part. And it's kind of like a small business owner asking you, do I need help with my accounting or with my tax? It is pretty technical. It does change frequently. There's technology involved. There's a lot of time involved. And so if you were to hire a full-time person to do it, it's very expensive if they're experienced. The same thing with a small business. Hiring a full-time CFO would be very expensive, so they hire you. And you don't have the time, you don't have the marketing technology and years of experience. So I would evaluate, when you're looking for partners, a few things. What is the opportunity in front of you in terms of what you can get from all of these things we talked about? What's the cost? What's the experience? Do they have a track record? Have they worked with accountants and tax professionals? Can they do all of those things that you see on your screen that we do for you that you need? And so obviously I'm going to recommend you talk to us, but if you do have other types of things out there, let us know and we can take a look. I would also avoid at the bottom there fly-by-night, really small consultants and companies, because we have seen clients get burned on all of these things. So they have a small company they hire, and that person who's building their website decides to go off and get another job doing something else. Well, now you're stuck. You've got a website that you can't manage. You can't get back a hold of your domain name. There's all kinds of problems that happen when people hire small, independent, fly-by-night consultants, social media experts, people who say they can build a website for you, and then they go away. Or long-term contracts where you're stuck and you pay a lot and get nothing from it. So those are the things I would watch out for. Okay, so last poll question, I'm going to go ahead and load it up. Thank you for all that you have stayed by, and if you want more information, if you want to ask us for help, we'd happy to look at your site, look at your marketing, look at the things you're doing. So hopefully you can grab this poll question right here and let us know. Would you like some help, either with getting more clients, growing your firm, or helping to communicate and serve the clients that you have, maybe getting more referrals from the clients that you have, getting reviews, things like that. If you don't need help right away, that's fine. Go ahead and answer that question, and we would definitely follow up with you later on. But I really appreciate all of your time here, and go ahead and answer that, and I'll give you a few more seconds to answer that, and then we'll get on to any questions that you have remaining. So I'll give that just a few more seconds. Please go ahead and respond to the poll question. 3, 2, 1. All right. And then we'll go ahead and move ahead. So any questions that we answered a lot, and I appreciate you all sticking by. So Lee, I don't know if you see any questions there that you wanted to grab from the questions that have come in.
Yeah, there was one question, and we had asked it and then didn't really answer it. But do I need a custom site? And the answer is, I don't think, in today's world with WordPress and systems like ours, with where we can manage content for you, there's no real custom sites anymore. It's very cost prohibitive for smaller firms to be able to build. Where you customize is you pick kind of a navigation look and feel, and then you customize it based on the content, the copy, the imagery, the vertical direction, things like that. So you really can customize any site to be kind of a custom website. And what a lot of times people try to get crazy, and they find sites that big accounting firms have that they did spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on, and they say, okay, I want this. And the reality is you don't really need this. You can get away with a much more cost-effective solution, and that's kind of the way we work with clients. But you can get an absolute custom-looking site on on our platform, and I think that's kind of an important thing for people to think about before they throw $2,500, $5,000, $10,000 into quote-unquote a custom site that then's outdated in 6 to 10 months because Google made another change.
Very good. Good answer too. And so another question. So somebody had said they got a review on Yelp and they can't see that review anymore. So hopefully you got a notification from them, but it might be also what Lee mentioned earlier, where they actually hide the reviews, and so you should be able to find on your profile, and we'll, I think it's Ala, if you want to send us your contact, well, we have your contact info. We can get back to you and see if we can find it for you, but there should be a little link that says not currently recommended by Yelp or something along those lines. It's a little link that's it's grayed out, and if you click on that, it might have ended up there. There's also a possibility sometimes if Yelp believes that the review violated their terms of service, which happens occasionally as well, they will actually remove it completely. But they usually do leave it there in that not recommended section. It just has a little note that says it's been removed because of a violation of the terms of service. But this is actually a very big problem with Yelp. Now with TaxBuzz, Google, and some other sites, we don't hide reviews, necessarily. So if your clients come and they give this fantastic review for you on TaxBuzz, definitely, and then probably in Google in most cases too, we're not going to bury it. But Yelp, again, we find that 30 to sometimes almost 100% of reviews. Yesterday I was on a profile and 50 out of, I think it was 60 reviews were hidden on that link, on that Yelp profile. And again, it's because if they're not an active Yelper, so if they haven't reviewed a lot of different businesses out there, if they don't have their photo. We don't know for sure what all the criteria uses, Yelp uses to hide reviews, but it's probably some of those things, whether they're active or not, whether they have a photo, the timing of the review, the content of the review. There's certain things that are there, but we know for a fact, because we working with our clients, we know in many cases that is their client. It is a legitimate review of that practice or of that accountant, and Yelp decides, we don't think that's a valid review. We're gonna hide it. So that is we actually can help with that too, though. So first we'd recommend definitely getting reviews on ClientWhys. Absolutely, it's free. We can help you to do it. We have a client who got 90 5-star reviews on his ClientWhys profile, so we can help you get reviews, through your clients, legitimate reviews. We're not going to fake reviews because we want it to be real, and we want it to be, but we can help your actual clients go to your ClientWhys page and get reviews for you on ClientWhys. So, but if you do eventually get to Yelp, there's strategies we can help you with on getting more Yelp reviews as well, but I'm not going to talk about that at this point. So we don't know if you see any other questions here, but I also see something from Sherry White. Thank you very much. Client of ours who shared that she's very happy with the service she's getting from us. Thank you, Sherry. Any other questions from the audience? I'm not seeing any in front of me. Let me scroll back up the screen here. Go ahead, Lee.
Yeah, I was going to say John Ellis had asked about should he set up a bio on Wikipedia. One of the comments is, yeah, all of us would love to have a Wikipedia page about our brand. The issue is, you need to be a significant influencer in order for that to stick, and trying to go in and add your own Wikipedia page will not happen. It really needs to be organic. Someone needs to notice you, then start adding to you, and you need multiple editors. So it's definitely not a game that you can play where you're faking it. And again, we can talk offline about that, but if it was that easy, then everyone would have a Wikipedia page. It's a huge value. So once your brand is that significant, that people will add, the editors will write about you and add a Wikipedia page about you, that would be a significant boost to your Google ratings, a significant boost to your brand, but it's extremely hard to do.
Okay. Let's see. So another question specifically about advertising. Somebody had asked about AdWords and things like that. So we do manage that for some of our clients. One thing I would say, though, again, going back to what I said earlier, is let's see what we can do to max out all of the other things that we can do for you with your website, your social media, getting more referrals from the clients that you have through email marketing, getting those reviews on sites like ClientWhys before you decide to go out and do that, because it can be expensive. So I didn't mention this in terms of budgets. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you. You can sign up. But in terms of budgets, you're looking at, with AdWords, at least a minimum of $500 a month, and you do need to keep it up, for many months usually. So it's definitely going to be something that's expensive. Any online advertising, even Facebook, you can start with a little bit smaller budget, but the return is also going to be lower. You might get some likes. Twitter, you might do ads there, and there's other directories and things you can advertise on. But for the most part, you're going to see pretty low returns in the most cases. Especially if you're doing it yourself, it's pretty complicated. And especially if you're not spending a decent amount on budgets, 500 again is a minimum. Usually it's thousands of dollars a month in some cases to compete, especially like during tax season, with other H&R Block is out there spending probably maybe $1 billion on advertising every year. So it's it's very competitive. So do the things that we recommend before you have to advertise, before you go out there and pull the trigger and spend a whole lot of money on it, and talk to us about it too. First, I would definitely talk to us. Okay, any other questions, Lee, that you saw come in? If not, then...
Yeah, I'll do one more, and then I think we wrap it up. Tina asked, and I'm not sure I'm getting this completely right, but clients are there, but they ignore the posting. So I don't know if that was in reference to blog post or social media, but a couple things. If Facebook throttles your posts, so the more active your users are, the more they engage with your content, the more eyeballs are going to see your content. So I think the best way to approach that is to provide content in the context of where people are. So if it's Facebook, you don't want to just be linking to articles. You want to be more pictures and shorter, posts. You want to maybe perhaps hear some humor or some real quick tips. And I think the idea here is the more engagement you get, the more your posts are going to be seen by more people. You can always look into boosting posts. You can boost posts based on demographics and going after specific people. Sometimes there's a lot of noise in there and not high quality inbound links, but those are things that can help you as far as your postings. We see 30+% opens and higher on our newsletters and our content, so people engage with our content. So I don't know how to answer the question perfectly, but most people get a lot of good interactivity, a lot of questions, a lot of inbound business from the content that we put out for our clients. So I hope that was what you were asking.
Yeah, and just to add to that a little bit, Lee, so if you're getting in front of them, I mean, that is part of the battle right there. So, if you have 10 people following you on Twitter, let's say, yeah, you might have 10 people, getting your content there. But if you have, 100 or 500 or 1,000, you're going to get a lot more interaction just by sheer numbers. There is a lot of noise out there, in social media. It is hard to get in front of people and get their attention. Photos, as we mentioned and Lee just mentioned just now, are probably the #1 thing that it's going to help you kind of break through the clutter. So whether it's a photo that's related to an article or photos that you take of your clients or your dog or whatever in your office, really engaging, fun kind of things, that'll definitely get their attention. But then part of it is growing your following. So you absolutely need to have a strong following. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be you're going to see less interaction just from the rule of numbers and the attention span of people that they have. But if you're not there, you're absolutely guaranteed to get zero interaction. And again, the good news is with our clients, we actually do social media for them and post things 2 to 3 times a week in addition to some of the things that they do. We also have a Whitney service where we're actually posting even more content, very customized to you and your firm, where we will, if you get a nice testimonial review, we're going to post that out on on social media for you, with a little snippet of the testimonial that you're getting from a client. So we can help get even more engaging out there, content out there with our Whitney service and some of the other, social media services that we have. But again, if you're not there at all, and one final thought on that is, even if somebody doesn't engage with you, the signals that Lee talked about with search engine optimization, by you pushing content out there on social media, in respect to that, yeah, you do get a little bigger boost from SEO if you're having people reply and things like that to posts, but you're already getting a nice impact on your search engine optimization, even if you don't have super high engagement from the people that you're interacting with on social media. So there's lots of benefits to doing it beyond just, having lots of people comment and like and a lot of interaction. But if you get some of that, that's great too. Okay, well, I think we're gonna go. Lee, any other questions that you saw on there? Otherwise, we'll wrap it up. And
no, I think we're good to go. And obviously, people can reach out to us offline, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, great. Well, thank you, Lee, and thank you, everyone. Thanks again to CPA Academy for co-sponsoring this with us. And yes, there will be a video. You'll get an email regarding the video link, and you'll also get some more information on the CPE if you need to get that through us. You'll get it through CPA Academy if you need to get the CPE credit through there. So thanks again for everyone for joining, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.
Thank you.